Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is January 1st, 2023. It is a new year. Same me, same podcast. Not much changed. Um, I hope that you had a good transition from 2022 into 2023. Hopefully, this episode is finding you well and good and high spirits. Hopefully, you're merry and bright, all that. Let's see. As for me, how was my New Year's? Little personal news corner. It was good. We had a good time. We had fun. We can also talk a little bit food corner while we're at it. Let's see. Let's see. What did I eat? I went to a little pub, like Irish style pub called Dingle House. I think it's Irish, Scottish. I think it's Irish. Whatever. Um, but what did I eat? Well, we can start with what I drank. I drank a couple of brews. There were like well, is it IPAs? I really feel like it was IPA. But I got it from Urban. It was an Urban Artifact called beer called Teak, which is pretty good. And then I also got Three Floyd Zombie Dust, which was good. And then I got Buffalo Hot Wings bone in, and I got onion rings with that and pretzel bites. So it was good. I was very well fed. Also, there was at the party. There was also some more food, little like charcuterie board, whatever, little veggie tray, stuff like that. Um, there was buffalo dip, which is very common at parties, but it's something that's really sunk in for me over the past maybe like 2 years or so, and that is that like man, buffalo dip is like such a key thing in the Midwest. I don't know, maybe I'm sure it's in other places, yes, but in the U.S., buffalo dip is just so good. We go crazy over that. And I think like, oh yeah, buffalo dip, all right, cool, something to dip your chips in. But it's almost like a blood in the water thing. Like once I get like one good, scoop and a taste, as long as that buffalo dip is good, it's not weird or anything, I'm in it. So overall, really good food, experience for me over the past 24 hours or so. Yay, yee. Um, let's see. Like I said, overall, really good New Year's, and I'm really excited to get into this year and see what happens. It's nice to kind of just chart the changes week to week. So, here we are in a new year. Thanks for being here with me. Yay. Yay. So that's the good news. We got the clackers, we got the, kazoos blowing, everything. Let's get into, I guess, yes, some bad news. I usually hold off on the obituary stuff. I kind of got a little bit like bummed out doing it. So I wouldn't cover it as often unless it was like a big name, big person. But a weird thing that kind of happened, or maybe I just noticed, whatever, there was a lot of deaths like over the week. Now, here I'm just pointing out like maybe about seven of them, but it was just weird to have this kind of cluster, you know. It was just a weird vibe, and also, obviously every life is important, and definitely I feel bad for the people that I do wind up missing on the obits because they matter and stuff like that. But just wanted to kind of do a little bit of a rundown, and there's gonna be maybe some I cover a little bit more so than others. Um, let's see. Starting off with one I got from Yahoo Entertainment. Reggae artist Joe Mirza Marley, grandson of Bob Marley, died at 31. I believe that the cause of death was not known, or at least wasn't presented as of this article. Trying to think here, but this is the son of Stephen Marley, and then the grandchild or grandson of Bob Marley. Um, Also, I found out was it the other day. Jeremiah Green, who is, I believe, yeah, the drummer for Modest Mouse, died at 45 after a battle of cancer. That's a bummer. I actually got to see Modest Mouse. I want to say about like 5, 6 years ago, maybe a little bit more than that. But really, great band. Sad to hear about that. Also, there was And I got that one from TMZ. Then from Reuters, Anita Pointer of the Pointer Sisters, dead at 74. She died of cancer on Saturday. Um, so, that's sad. Amazing singer, amazing artist. Then there was Keenan Calhill, Keenan Calhill, I think. YouTube lip syncer dies at 27. I believe he had um, a syndrome called Maritos Lemay syndrome, a condition that causes organs to enlarge, among other symptoms, for which he received frequent treatments and underwent several surgeries. He was supposed to go a open heart surgery this month. But yeah, he passed away. I got that from CNN. And then let's see here. Then there was the Brazilian soccer legend Pele dies at 82. Definitely sad, see him go. A really big loss in terms of just the space. But I mean, he's always going to be remembered for sure. I don't think that his legacy is ever really going to fade in the soccer world and football world, depending on, I guess, where you are. But he was born Edson Arantes do Nascimento. But yeah, he was fighting cancer, and then he also had gone to the hospital for like a respiratory thing, and lost his battle with those things. And it is unfortunate, but it is, and I always, something I do think about this is when you do get to those points where you're just going through so much, it can just definitely be just, at least from what I imagine, just to release to at least just be done with that. So definitely though, but condolences to the family, friends. Let's see. We also have, also from CNN, Vivienne Westwood, fashion designer and style icon, dies at 81. I believe she died of natural causes. She was surrounded by family, which is always a good thing to hear. In her home in London on Thursday. Let's see. Now, I didn't really know Vivienne Westwood before. I will say that that's kind of a name that I've heard, but didn't associate it with anything really. But seeing some of her fashion and this is stuff that she's really a part that she was like really a part of. It's really cool to see someone who is really bringing like new wave and punk and like putting it on a runway. Seeing someone do that for the first time, I imagine would just be so mind blowing. And it's still mind blowing to see her looks, throughout time, even in like more modern recent times. I was listening to BBC and they told a story of, and she said she was a vegan, and but there's a story that they were going out to a chicken spot, and she said, "Hey, bring me back your chicken bones." And she was going to use those chicken bones and kind of like sew them into fabrics and stuff like they were pearls and stuff like that. And like that's just such a cool like gnarly style. Like just I don't know. I thought that was really cool to hear someone just applying anything and everything they could to kind of make a point and really speak up and express yourself like with fashion. I think it's always really fucking cool. So definitely the world will miss her. And then let's see here. The last person on the list, ABC News, Pope Benedict the 16th has died at the age of 95. Now, he died at his home in the Vatican. Once again, I think he died. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but we'll say natural causes. But I don't know. On this one, I don't want to be rude, speak ill of the dead. I know I've done that before. Religious figures are weird, right? I don't really associate much of my religion to the Catholic religion, growing up, so I don't really feel a way here. It's not like this guy personally affected me one way or another, but it is a little bit weird, some of the stuff, he's, said and done. Maybe not so much the best, but he has made some apologies and strides, and that's good. I know one notable thing was he was a Nazi at one point in his life. Now, I think him and his family have come out and said, like, we did that under duress, yada, yada, yada. Though, I mean, he started as, like, a Hitler youth and then wound up even becoming a soldier. So, I mean, I don't know. This is awkward. That's weird, right? But, I mean, he's, kind of come under scandal for, like, other things, but more or less he has been a hardline, I guess what some would say, a lot would say, was a good Catholic and practiced it and really wanted to uphold those values that the Catholic Church really espouse. So yeah, I don't know. Also, I think this was a weird thing too, and I will give him credit for was he kind of knew that it was his time to step down, and instead of just riding it out for his whole life, he said, "No, let's get someone in who has their faculties. Let's get my replacement, and I'm gonna retire." And so we had literally technically it was really only one pope. Pope Francis replaced him, but he was allowed to wear his robes, wear white. He was allowed to live in the Vatican. They didn't kick him out, so it was almost like they had like two popes because he was still writing and talking, doing stuff. So kind of interesting. Yeah, it is a big moment, and I'm sure there are people out there who are mourning this now. So they I'm gonna let them do that. I'm gonna let them mourn. Um, Let me take a break, and then we got a little bit of a three spots, and then we can move along with our days. So yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Now I got this article from actually Bloomberg. Oh wait, maybe are they gonna work for me here? Are we in? Yeah, we're in. Let's see. Um, what is the title? Virgin Islands sues J.P. Morgan for facilitating Epstein abuse. So, um, this is a suit that is filed by the victims, um, or at least it's similar to suits filed by the victims. Um, oh, hold on. Sorry about that. That was a weird ad that popped up. But let's see. The U.S. Virgin Islands is suing J.P. Morgan Chase and Company for turning a blind eye to former client Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking on his private island there. Um, let's see. The USVI Attorney General Denise George said her suit filed Tuesday in Manhattan federal court was part of an ongoing effort to hold accountable those who facilitated Epstein's activities. Epstein brought many of his victims to his villa on Little St. James, the private island he owned. Now, I want to say there's a Netflix documentary on Jeffrey Epstein, and I do believe that they cover that island stuff a little bit. I'm sure if you do some research, via YouTube or whatever on the internet, you can find more info on that. But I mean, yeah, it's a notorious situation. I mean, literally, Epstein had this whole island bought up to the point that he would land on the runway, the whole fucking like red carpet would be more or less rolled out for him. Everyone's gonna turn a blind eye. Staff, security, whoever is there, they do not care who's coming on and off this plane. Whether it be a celebrity, whether it be whoever, girls, they don't pay attention to that. They're paid to more or less just take the bags, say hi, hello, escort them when they need to go, and that's it. And I mean, it's one of those situations where, like I said, money's the thing that made this all happen. And naturally, you can tie that money back to banks, back to people, and therefore you wind up landing at JP Morgan when it comes through Epstein. So I think, naturally, since we're in the situation where we definitely can't, fully see Epstein, face his crimes and really face justice because of the whole situation, um, the tendrils kind of move to try to, and I think, don't get me wrong, even if Epstein was alive, whether or not he would get off for this shit, I do not think he would have at that point. But like this would have happened, I think, inevitably. I think, with Ghislaine Maxwell, I think with now with the JP Morgan suit. And granted, JP Morgan hasn't really spoken up. They've declined to comment. But I think these things were inevitable. Let's read a little bit more here. According to the suit, JP Morgan concealed wire and cash transactions that raised suspicion of a criminal enterprise whose currency was the sexual servitude of women and girls in the Virgin Islands. George also claims JP Morgan's willingness to do business with Epstein unfairly enriched it at the expense of other banks. Oh, excuse me. So I mean, this is a little interesting thing. I'm curious to see how it's going to go. I kind of just want to get a toehold here to kind of, say, hey, let's put a pin in that and see what happens. I gotta be honest with you. I kind of thought, hey, after Maxwell was in jail, we were gonna see what was gonna unfold there, and that was more or less the end of the arc, right? But it's good to see that we are going after, the Andrew Charles. We're going after the JP Morgans. I mean, at least the company, whatever. Because I think it's the best thing that you can do in the situation is to just get as much justice and as much view on this shit. I know it can seem tiring. I know it can seem like, well, shouldn't this be over? Shouldn't we just move on? Like, no, because these people still exist. Like, one way or another, people are going to try the shit again and again, one way or another. All these people who have money and just nothing to do with it, they come up with this just the most depraved, evil shit. And I think holding people to account and trying to make sure that justice is done as best you can is the only real deterrent. Oh gosh. Actually, I'm really glad here. I almost missed a death, and thank you, actual commercials and stuff. Barbara Walters also died as well. Hold on, I'm gonna audible here. Barbara Walters. Whoops, this is a little bit of a freestyle, middle of my podcast. But yes, she died as well. She died at 93. I'm just gonna go ahead and click on CNN here and just read a quick blurb. Like I said, it just, there were so many, and it was one of those things where, like, one of my friends are telling me, hey, Mercury's in retrograde, and I'm like, and that always gets me, because then I look at my life and I see all the things that are wrong, and I'm like, it's because of this. Let's see. Barbara Walters, the pioneering TV journalist whose interviewing skills made her one of the most prominent figures in broadcasting, has died. Her spokesperson confirmed to CNN she was 93. She passed away peacefully in her home, surrounded by loved ones. She lived her life with no regrets. Yada. There's more stuff there. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to come off as disinterested in Barbara Walters. I think, a woman making good strides in journalism is really cool. I will say I heard a blurb though of her interview with Monica Lewinsky, and I don't know. I mean, she did a good job overall, but the way she ended it was just more or less putting a nail on she's made the biggest mistake of her life, and it's that just seems so rude and so mean. And I know I'm maybe focusing on one thing, but it can kind of be the thing that I hate about journalists in a lot of ways. Even though I do love journalism, it's part of the reason I do what I do. Is that when you're on these big scales, it almost feels like you have to hit certain notes. I don't know if that's the powers that be, or if that's just reflexive energy from you and you just do it. I don't know. But it always just makes it feel disingenuous. You're not treating the person you're interviewing, or you're not treating the thing that you're doing as real people are involved here. And sometimes it's about the spin, or it's about the sell, or whatever. And that can kind of bother me. But, definitely flowers, and, props to Barbara Walters. Let's see. Let's keep going, though. I kind of had to stitch that in there. But yeah, thank you, ABC News, coming in clutch. But yes, from ABC News, 3 police officers near Times Square injured in machete attack on New Year's Eve. So, this was not something I had on my 2023 bingo card. God damn it, I can't stop. I can't stop it. I'm sorry. Yeah. So it's potentially looked at as a terrorist situation, but that's only because let's see, the 19-year-old who was allegedly involved, the person who did the chopping, um, they made posts that indicate like Islamic radicalization. Sources told the ABC News. But essentially, the 19-year-old came up to one officer and then just took the machete. And I think it's also, to be more specific about what kind of like blade it is, it's a Gurkha knife. I believe it's how it's pronounced. But he took the blade and chopped, swung and hit one officer, directly on the head, and then proceeded to swing on two others. And, they were injured as well. I think he got them like both in the head. But then one officer was able to shoot him in the shoulder, and they were able to, apprehend him and defuse the incident. I don't believe that the suspect's name has been released. And the exact motives are still under investigation. So, that was a little spicy, thing that took place in New York over the weekend, over the new year. Let's see here. And some other news we got from NBC News. Ringleader of Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping plot sentenced to 19 and a half years in prison. So that is Barry Croft Jr. And then also, I believe it is Adam Fox. He was sentenced to 16 years in prison. Adam Fox is 49. Barry Croft is 47. We've kind of gone into the details of this case over time. I don't really want to belabor it too much. But these guys were essentially trying to cook up a plot to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer and overthrow the government. Essentially, they were just mad about some COVID shit at the time. And they were really popping off about it, seeming like they were really getting ready. And someone who was involved in this little group that was formed was like, this is way too hot. They got the feds involved, and multiple people were apprehended in this group. So, we've been kind of covering it along the way. These two guys are like the big wigs, the top dogs of it, and they've kind of gotten the top sentences to match. So, I say justice is served here. I know there's, a few ways to look at it, conspiratorially or whatever. But at the end of the day, these guys were goofing so hard, they were really going to make it a reality, I think. I think when you do this kind of extremism, you're really trying to arc yourself up, the people around you up, to just do it. And then it just happens. And you hope that the best happens and you get the outcome you wanted. But either way, this should have never happened. And someone really could have gotten hurt or killed. And and not to mention, it's extremely traumatic. I could not imagine, waking up one day and realizing that there are people out here who, not only do they not like me, they want to literally kidnap me and or shoot me in the fucking face. Over more or less like face masks and shit like that and vaccines. Like, I don't know, man. Shit's crazy as fuck. It's a crazy world. That hasn't changed, and I don't think it ever will. But, excuse me. I appreciate you guys hanging out for another episode. It's been an amazing, fun time for me. Like I said, I'm excited to go into this year kicking, swinging, and screaming. I appreciate you guys listening, along the way, and I hope that you continue to. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.